First of all, it's such a glorious morning. It's been raining all night, so you can see it's kind of like hazy, like evaporation. So beautiful. I hear a car coming. I wish there was a pause button. But you know what the pause button is? It's people editing their videos, which I don't do. Oy. Um, I would never upload a video if I had to edit it. So this is me being interest-based attention. I am interested in making the videos. I am interested in uploading them, but I am not interested in editing out the cars. So there you go. Okay, so I was thinking about this. I was listening to a podcast, and they were mentioning this study about, it was in the 1960s, and it was asking people to write out the characteristics of a healthy adult. And then they had them write out the characteristics of a healthy woman and a healthy man. And as you may imagine, the characteristics of the healthy adult were the same as the characteristics for a healthy man. But the characteristics for a healthy woman were the opposite of the characteristics for a healthy person or a healthy man. And in this paradox, everyone is put in the position of being wrong. Well, okay, women are put in the position of being wrong 100% of the time. So if they're acting like a healthy woman, then they're not acting like a healthy person. If they're acting like a healthy person, they're not acting like a healthy woman. Men are put in the position to be wrong half of the time. So if they're acting like a healthy woman, then they're not acting like a healthy man. What this brought to mind was this time in therapy, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, when I was working with a very younger part through like a, parts work framework. I was working with a very young part who at 11 realized, well, even, I think it was even a younger one. It may have been like a kindergartner. Yes, because I think this was one of the first time, well, this is one of the earliest memories I have of recognizing that I was breaking a gender rule. So this young part offered like this amazing insight. They said, did you know if you say we're supposed to be a girl, then we've broken every rule. And we continue to break the rules, and you are like flat out breaking so many rules. And so we need to feel guilty and ashamed and change. But if you were to roll back the tapes and say, you're a boy, then we would be nailing it. We would be like a hero. We would be, having press tours of how amazing we are. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are actually so right. Because every behavior that was a problem, starting from, the earliest memory of it was I fell in the mud from playing, and I was like so scared of getting in trouble for getting muddy. And it was like unladylike to have been playing that boisterously that I would fall in the mud. I was a kid who was sent in like full perfect dresses that were hand smocked by my mom every day. And I went to the nurse's office. What I did was I stood against the wall to try to hide the mud until the end of recess, when they made me come in and realized what had happened. And they sent me to the nurse's office to get a fresh set of clothes. And what she had were some brown pants and some quote unquote boys' underwear, which I was mortified about. Like, that was breaking so many rules if I were to put that on my body. And the nurse, wasn't in my cult. And so was like, oh, honey, you're 5. Like, slap on these clothes and go have a great rest of the day. And I was mortified. And so that memory forward, all the many things, realizing in puberty that I was attracted to this girl in my class, having any kind of sexuality, wanting to be top of the class, wanting to be class president, wanting to be good at math, wanting to travel all over the world, not being super interested in dating because I had so many other things I wanted to pursue, right? All of that would have been super acceptable all the way up until now, being divorced, owning my own home on my own, running my own business, being interested in learning about business and finances and wanting to learn more about that world. All of that would be like super duper praiseworthy every step of the way if I had been told that I was a boy when I was born. Okay, this is tricky because this is the postal person, so they're gonna like possibly be right with us for a few minutes. Let's see if we can pause and let them get ahead of us. So, all this to say, it's very interesting to think about what is the relationship between your shame and guilt and expectations of your society, right? If you could rewrite a rule that actually supports who you are and celebrates who you are, like if I said the best people wear only clothes that make them comfortable and happy, right? Then I would be like, I'm one of the best people. If I'm like, people who are assigned female at birth are awesome and respectable if they pursue any life that feels interesting and meaningful to them, right? In this, it's very much associated with the concept of pendulums from reality transurfing. You can look up, what's it called? Tufi the Priestess. And it's a quick 4-hour audiobook on YouTube that you can find. Tufti, Tufti, Tufti the Priestess. A quick synopsis of reality transurfing. Reality transurfing, if you go to the reality transurfing books, they're like 7,000 pages long. A little bit more abstract and difficult to digest, but Tufti the Priestess is a quick synopsis of it. And we get this concept of pendulums, which basically means something that everyone agrees upon that becomes, because of like how many people are associated with it, more or less of like a gravitational pull. And we get like magnetized to these things. So for example, a very, very impactful pendulum is gender roles, pretty worldwide, right? Everything that everyone does is a pendulum. It's just a matter of how powerful the pendulum is. So my pendulum of wear whatever clothes feel interesting and comfortable with you is like not very strong because not very many adults follow that. All 3-year-olds follow that. So among the toddler crew, we have a very strong pendulum. But so in that way, like the pendulums are more or less powerful depending on how many people are magnetized to that pendulum. And we can, the point being, we can, here comes the postal truck again, create our own pendulum. And we can choose which pendulums to be associated with. Okay, so this is the conscious decision to notice what pendulums are you following or adhering to, magnetized to, stuck on, and what pendulums would you like to choose to be associated with, and which ones would you like to create for yourself. And people can become pendulums. For example, Ram Dass is a pendulum, right? People identify with being a follower or, of the same philosophy as Ram Dass. Taylor Swift is a pendulum. Beyonce is a pendulum. Michael Jackson, etc. So you can be your own pendulum you might not be as, big of a pendulum over other people in society, but you can be your own pendulum. And in that way, what you're doing is you're choosing who you want to be rather than becoming what is acceptable or profitable or whatever. Knowing that, another car, busy day today. Knowing that realistically, all pendulums, all human behavior has some sort of motivation. So we're not removing the motivation to keep us safe. Like, that's always going to be there. And it becomes less about, like, some people think authenticity is like, I don't care what anybody thinks. But even that is a caring that other people think you don't care what they think, right? So we're not escaping the awareness of others and the interaction with others and safety. But what we're offering is this opportunity to say, what feels most meaningful to me is A, B, or C, and that's why I'm joining this pendulum. So I might join the pendulum of, for example, driving the speed limit is a pendulum I have chosen to join because I think it makes me feel safe. It's meaningful to me to try to keep other people safe. I like the idea of driving slower. I don't like driving fast. So there's a lot that I personally get out of it. And in that way, we can reduce resentment about following things that are not meaningful to us and increase our life satisfaction because we are investing in things that are meaningful to us. And there becomes no have to's. There becomes choose, or I want to. Okay. I love you. I hope you have a beautiful day.